Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of SpeakEasy with Eric and Cory. As you can notice, we've hit the important milestone of being able to get a sign, which means we can afford a sign now.
We're legitimate.
We're totally legitimate. Yeah.
Yay. It's really heavy.
Also, I mean, before we get into this, so this episode is solar is a scam, right? And this one is, for us, look, we've got some bourbon in the glass because this one is an important topic and we just need to let it out. Like, we need to call this industry out on what it is. We're going to get there. But before we start, I appreciate you being here. You have a baby that's 10 days old. So,
yes.
Welcome to the 3-kid club. You're now in zone formation instead of man-to-man. So thank you for coming.
That's always been your thing that you tell me, like,
Yeah,
okay,
sport
3
ball.
kids. You
Yeah.
had 3 kids longer than I have by a long shot here. So, yeah, sport ball.
Yeah. How's everything going? You doing okay? You sleeping?
It's good. My wife is a saint. She really is trying to, I don't know if it's protect me so much as prepare herself for when I actually come back to work.
She's pretty used to you not being very useful, so I don't think she has to practice for this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So she is being very kind to me at night.
Get in your sleep.
I'm waking up and helping with feedings and diaper changes and stuff like that. But it's kind of a quick thing. Like, I have a get it done, go back to sleep routine. And then she stays up if the baby stays up or whatever, and she doesn't wake me up, which I don't know why I deserve that. If I
You don't.
deserve
You
that.
definitely don't. Brittany, you're a saint.
I love you, Brittany.
All right. So solar is a scam. Look.
It is.
Yeah.
Isn't.
Isn't.
Depends
So
on your experience.
how do we even do this justice, right? How do we even approach this in a way that does the people watching this justice? Because this industry sucks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that...
Wait, hold on. It sucks. This industry sucks. That bad.
There are a lot of people out there that are going to relate to that statement. They're going to say, solar's a scam, solar's bullshit, I should never have got solar. And there are a lot of people out there that are going to be confused. Like, what are you even talking about? I have no bill. So what's the difference between the person that thinks it's a scam and the person that thinks it's the greatest thing in the world? What is it?
Right. So let's do it like this. We're gonna break this thing into 3 segments. It's gonna be the part of what we deserve for people feeling this way, what we don't deserve, because there's a little bit of that. And then we've got on the clipboard here 4 questions, which are the most frequently asked questions that we get from people that, in my opinion, are tied to this fear that solar isn't legitimate, it's a scam. So let's start with what we deserve, because I think that's the most dense category in here. There's a lot wrong. What do you think is like the first thing that comes to mind of what people think of when they think solar is a scam?
Well, when you say like what we deserve, are you talking about the industry, the solar industry? Or are you talking about like our company?
No, the industry.
Because
look, the industry is...
Our industry deserves every piece of flack that anyone's ever said, because it's so vast. There's so many people involved. There's so many different state legislations.
We're like the
that
fastest growing industry, right? Like probably in the last 10 years.
There's 1 million people in, well, this is an exaggeration, but like there's too many people in solar. There's too many different strategies.
All right, so I'm going to tell a story, ready? Once upon a time, there was an industry that was emerging, and it was a bunch of granola crunching people with, I don't know, good intentions. They're saving carbon footprint and trees, and that's what they cared about, right? Then all of a sudden, 10 years ago, it turned into, holy shit, solar is a massive opportunity where greed can be injected into this and we can scale businesses massively. So this is where we went wrong, right? Like, there's just too much opportunity. Kind of think like, I don't know, when the housing market is going well, there's way too many real estate agents to jump in. Your cousin that has no idea what he's doing is all of a sudden selling you houses. like this is what happened to solar, but times 1,000,000.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it a smart question? Yeah. Well, I think, is solar being scammy, is that tied to subsidies? Do you think that government subsidies in the solar space like the federal tax credit, do you think that that is a direct correlation to it being a scammer space, or is it just being...
No, I don't think so. Because look, I mean, whether people know it or not, every energy company, oil, gas, it's all subsidized. So if you feel that way, you're just uninformed, right? Like solar is not unique in that space. Energy is subsidized in general. So what I think we need to focus on, and this is, let's just center it here. And I think this is what's front and center in this discussion, how solar reaches people. And what I mean to that is when you're going to find any product, right? You want a HVAC company, a plumber, a kitchen remodeler. Are they knocking on your door? No. Are they calling you? Are there call centers that are geared toward? No.
At least me, when I have an HVAC problem, I'm like, who's the guy in my area?
So why do we do this?
The guy or girl.
So why does this industry do this?
I don't know, man.
Why do we? No, you do know. And the answer is because it works. Because people pick up that damn phone and they're like, yeah, I do have a large electric bill, and it sucks because it's true. The utility companies are a problem, right? People make buying decisions for two reasons: pain or pleasure. This is pain. So when they make that call, those people with the auto dialers, that's illegal now, but like those people that make the calls, they're like, hey, do you have an electric bill that's a pain point for you? It's a problem. Yeah, I do. Well, guess what? 9 times out of 10, solar, I mean, we're speaking from California, so I'll, quantify that, clarify that. But like 9 times out of 10, yeah, we can solve your electric bill and make it smaller. So the fact that there's such a big problem makes these obnoxious ways of reaching out to you kind of a solution, even though it's really ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, HVAC can't do that, right? They can't go,
hang up on them.
Hey, is your HVAC working? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
click.
Okay.
See you later. Right. But in solar, it's like, I got a big ass electric bill.
Right.
It's the thing. So that is why this happens. And look, so if you're wondering, if people watching this are wondering why people are knocking on your doors, why they're calling you, why they're in Home Depots, why they're in Costco's, why they're at every kid's sporting events, everywhere. It's because they know that their total customer, like available market, is everybody. Everybody has an electric bill, and everybody's electric bill is generally going up.
Yep.
Right? So we deserve the fact that this is obnoxious. And look, there's stories that we personally have, right? So this has happened to me a couple weeks ago. I'm in Home Depot, and I'm in there shopping for my middle daughter, and I'm looking for, she wanted a sliding glass mirror for her closet. And what?
Okay, shopping for your daughter at Home Depot. Okay, I mean the closet thing. Okay, that works. That works. That works.
My kids have some weird present requests. So, anyways, I'm getting this mirror for my sliding glass door, and I've got my back turned. I'm on one of those like walls where there's a bunch of stuff crammed into it, and I can't find it. I can't find the one I need. I got a specific dimension
because there's no Home Depot person available.
No, but here's the thing, right? Like all of a sudden, sir.
Oh. Help has arrived.
I'm excited because you never find these people when you need them. And this person's behind me. I spin around. It's a solar person. And she's got her shirt on. And actually, coincidentally, I have my solar shirt on.
Have you seen the Nick Offerman thing in like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, where it's like, oh, the guy comes over and it's like, I know more than you. That's the solar. When solar people come up to you in Home Depot, you're like, I know more than you. Why are you?
I mean, so anyways, I spin around and I'm like looking at her dead in the eyes, and she's continuing on. Sir, have you thought about solar recently? And I know it's on my shirt right here. I'm like, I think about solar every goddamn day because it's my job. I own a solar company. But she doesn't realize it, and I let her talk. And at some point, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm in the industry. I have a solar company that I own. And she's like, oh, okay. And, I just want to be clear. This pisses me off.
Yeah. Do you know anything about closet doors?
It's Saturday. Like, I don't want to, on my weekend, be approached about solar. What other industry does this?
You're like, just like everyone else in this store, I'm here shopping for my daughter.
At least used car salesmen wait at the lot. Like, they don't come chase you down in a store. Like what are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing in this? What are we doing in this industry?
We aren't doing that.
We aren't doing it, but we are responsible, in my mind, partially for this industry we're in. It's a problem. Like, they are obnoxious. And I will qualify this by saying, everyone that knocks on your door or calls you or approaches you in a store isn't bad. Some of those people actually give a shit, but it doesn't mean it's not obnoxious. You want your personal space. So
I'm trying to think of the percentage of people that care about you versus the paycheck in that situation, but
it's a really challenging.
Generally, I'll agree with you.
I have a hard problem with this, right? Because there's part of me that's like, look, the utility bill that people have in this area in California, like if you live in another part of the country, listen to this, congratulations. You live in North Carolina, you pay 10 cents a watt for power. We pay 4 times as much as you. This is a massive problem.
More than that,
bud. A massive problem. So I have a trouble trying to figure out, like, am I upset that people are like, I don't know, ambushing people with the solar conversation, or am I happy that they're helping them get away from the utility bill? So it's kind of like a split, but there's no excuse. It's bad behavior. It's the number one thing in this industry. We've been harping on a lot here to start, but like, we apologize. We apologize. This is bad behavior. You don't deserve it. It's bullshit. So like, look, let's just leave that for what it is. Like, this industry, and the point being in there, I think the takeaway is right. The utility bill is a real problem, but how we reach you makes it feel terrible. And one more, I'll add the part B to this. If that's A, this is B. The marketing, right? If you're on your computer, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and you get these ads that say solar is free. There's a government program. Don't tell the utility company that we told you about this.
Or the other way,
like
the utility is going to pay you. I mean,
right.
They'll say anything. They'll say anything.
All of that is just scammy marketing. So that really is a scam, in my opinion. That they're just taking advantage of the fact that, like, this is going to draw your attention and you're going to respond to them, right? And then once they talk to you, yeah, they have an actual real solution. But they didn't need a bait like that. They didn't need to bait you into it.
There's a pretty large percentage of people that are grossed out. I think that's probably a pretty good characterization. They're grossed out by solar sales, and they'd like to just, their electric bill is painful, but not so painful that they're willing to talk to a solar guy, right? And so there's a lot of people that live in that middle area. Right. But if we hadn't created this, and those people were comfortable talking to us, imagine the world that we could live in. I mean, solar works for everyone.
Greed. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. So, all right, that was number 1. That was part 1 of this episode. Part 2 for me is what we don't deserve in solar. And look, I really have one main point in this, and I'm not trying to be overly controversial, but the politicization of everything in this country has gotten ridiculous, right? And what I mean by that is the idea that something that should be very simple and straightforward all of a sudden becomes complicated because people in Washington want you to believe that you have to feel a certain way about something just because it falls into a traditional part of a left or right-leaning party. And that's crap. Solar, in my mind, is a universally good decision because what you're doing is you're getting away from a monopoly, right? Like, who wouldn't agree that creating your own power is part of the solution? I feel like that fits. There's nothing more American than making your own and not relying on other people.
Well, it's a capitalist market, right? And consumers don't look at any other investment like, oh, this is political, this investment that I'm making. It's like, is it a winner or a loser? And unfortunately, consumers don't have the ability, seemingly, to look at solar as an investment, which it is, and look at it as a winner or loser. It's a winner. I'll defend that point that it's a winner. People won't look at it that way. It is a winner.
100%. And look, like, so we live in an area, right? We're in Southern California. This is where this is being taped. And in this particular area, whether people know it or not, it's pretty red. Like, we have a lot of people here that are very conservative, and we get a lot of calls for people that are preppers, maybe is the easiest term. Yeah. But they're concerned. Like, they're basically like, screw the government. I want to have all the guns, all the meals, everything I need.
This is both sides of the aisle, just to be clear.
But for the point of this argument, a lot of these people are deeply Republican.
Sure.
And they, as part of the equation, how is part of the equation not, I need power for this whole thing, right? I got a bunker buried in my backyard with all this crap. How is part of the equation not, I need my own power with solar and storage? Like, it just is. So we have customers like this, a lot of them, but how people don't identify that solar is one of the most freeing things you can do.
But those are the people that have gone beyond the politics and have gone like, I need the thing that works. Right. I need that.
It's not political.
Those
That's
are
my
our
point.
customers.
It's not political. We don't deserve to be wrapped up in some.
No.
This isn't some like overly liberal agenda. This isn't something that like is tied to a governor that maybe you don't like. That's not what this is. This is the same as growing your own food, having a well. This is creating your own power. You are eliminating the need to rely on other people, and this is a great thing. So how this ever became a negative for solar is bullshit. We didn't deserve this.
Yeah.
This is something that if you don't think this way, I'm sorry, this is on you. You need to reroute how you think about this.
Sure. Yep.
Fair? Yeah. So we deserve a lot of shit. We don't deserve that.
Yeah, we don't deserve the door-to-door guy's reputation, because that's not the industry. That's not the heart of the solar industry.
Right.
For sure.
We generally care about each individual person's home energy situation, their consumption, what they're trying to accomplish. And I think that's the most enjoyable part for me and you in owning this company. I don't particularly care about bill swap. I'm not trying to like lower someone's bill $50 a month. I'm trying to allow them to accomplish what makes them feel good for them and their family, to protect them, to feel like they are insulated from whatever issues that they perceive that are out there in this world, which there's a ton. So anyways, that's just my rant on what we don't deserve, because we don't deserve that. And I feel like solar is the most American thing you can do.
Wow. Okay. Love it.
I mean, all right. So one quick little rant. Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, like, how quickly has he become this politically polarizing thing, right? It's like he's on this side. No, wait, he's on this side. No, wait, you have him, right? Like, it's crazy how politics has swung that man.
Yeah.
And solar, he owns a solar company, right? Like he owns
an electric vehicle company,
right?
Very liberal.
But depending on how you feel about him, all of a sudden your view changes on those things. So that's my point, right? Like people need to think about this better.
Can I get one of those black MAGA hats
dark
with
MAGA.
with the what was it? Like very interesting script.
He called it dark MAGA.
Dark MAGA. What does that mean?
I don't know. It's Elon Musk. He's a wild card.
Interesting.
Anyways, so third segment, right? I got some questions written down. These are the most popular questions that we get asked that are all tied to, related to the feeling of solar is a scam. So let's go through these 4, because I think this is going to cover 80% of what people are feeling out there, like when they have this particular feeling that solar is not a legitimate industry. So let's just start right at the top. Here's the question. A lot of solar companies have gone out of business. Can I trust any solar company?
I mean, I feel that so many solar companies have gone out of business since New Day's inception. I feel like we've been servicing companies that have gone out of business, servicing their customers, and it's been a struggle. So it's very difficult to tell customers it's a solid industry, trust companies, without being biased and saying trust us, but we have been servicing other people's customers. So I think the important thing to remember, at least from my point of view, is that the solar system works substantially regardless of if that customer, that company is in business. The system is going to do what it's intended to do.
Right. And look, so I'll address the elephant in the room, right? We had a company that was in business for almost 40 years go bankrupt, and that's SunPower. So there is so many people
the solar industry, not
right?
We, Eric and Cory.
Right. The solar industry lost this major player. So 15 years ago, SunPower existed, and I was selling it as a badge of honor. If you didn't have it, you weren't legitimate. And the problem in my mind, right, and this is just my opinion, is that SunPower lost sight of who they were. So the greed, and this is the key component in this industry. You have an emerging industry, people get greedy. So what did they do, right? They, in my opinion, wanted to be everything for everybody. So they started as a manufacturer of the most high quality panel. And then all of a sudden they're a financing company, and then they're a lead generator, and they're a marketing company, and they become this whole ecosystem that an installer becomes an approved dealer of. Who are they at that point, right? They don't even know what their identity is. They have lost it. and they are all of a sudden not great at any one thing. They're just scrambling to try to figure out how they remain relevant.
I mean, it got to the point where they are just slapping their name on products that they didn't manufacture.
Right, they weren't even the thing they started as. They stopped doing.
Right.
They stopped manufacturing.
Right.
We were using the same products as them, except they were white labeling it and using it and calling it their own.
SunPower.
Right, SunPower. So if you're one of the people, a lot of people that have SunPower and feel like you're put out to sea, like, look, we're sorry. Right? You might have a system right now that you're not getting your call answered. You're monitoring. You're not sure if you can even see your system at this point. So I apologize for that. But just know this. There's good companies like ours, like New Day, that want to step in and help you. So to answer the question, just because companies like this are going out of business doesn't mean there's not other companies that will step in and service you.
And going back to the installation, is that system still working?
Absolutely.
Whether or not it is, right? Like there can be a physical problem with the system. More often than not, the system is working. The company that installed it's out of business, but that asset is still working for you. It's still giving you a return.
And it doesn't invalidate the fact that this works.
Right. So
Absolutely.
Yes, there are problems. There are companies like this that go out of business. The asset that they provided is still making you a return.
Absolutely. All right, question 2. I've got solar recently and still have an electric bill. Does this mean my solar isn't working? So I guess to qualify this a little bit, right? So when we say recently, I'm assuming they mean in the last 18 months. So what's happened in the last 18 months is the utility companies have changed. In California, again, they've changed the rules, right? So it is way easier in the last 18 months to screw this up. And what I mean by that, look, this is a very deep rabbit hole. So I'm going to try to explain this in a simple way, and I'll ask for your opinion here. But I think what we're really talking about here is this. Solar early 2023, you couldn't screw up. It was a slam dunk. It was like this Band-Aid, like, oh, you have an electric bill? Let me give you a solar system. As long as I build it big enough, you're going to save money. Solar now, in the last 18 months, it's focusing on something that in my mind should have always been focused on, which is your behaviors. How much power are you using and when are you using it? So that's what's really changed, right? That's what I think people are referring to. If you have an electric bill, it's probably because either you weren't explained well enough how the system works and how you should use power, or you're just not aware enough of how you use that power. I mean, like, what are your thoughts? Am I off?
You're not off. I agree with everything you said, but my opinion is go back to the basics and say, are you getting a return on what the system is covering? If you have an electric bill, that's unfortunate, because the idea is to bill swap, right? That's the goal of the solar industry.
That's the simplified version of what we're trying to do here. Lower your bill.
It would be great to bill swap, but if you can approach a solar system or an electric bill with a solar system and get a return on a certain portion, right? 80% of the bill is being covered by the solar system. You're getting a return on that. If there's 20% left over.
Your point is, sorry, but your point is right. I think you're trying to very simplistically make is no matter how we do this, do it perfectly well, or even do a piss poor job of this, it still works, right?
Right.
Solar still makes sense to offset in some capacity this obnoxious electric bill.
The power that the system will produce is going to be at a cheaper cost per kilowatt hour than you would buy it from the utility. Every time.
I got a story.
Every time.
You were there. So this is embarrassing for me, right? I own a solar company. So I think we're expected to know things at a higher level, which we should. But we're at this training and we're there for, it was a intelligent load control, right? Which basically means that you can monitor each individual breaker in your home, whatever's tied to that breaker, and how much power it's using and when, right? It's immense data that you're getting. If you're a data person, this is what you need. But for me, we're in this training and they're explaining it, and me and you have this in our home. We have this smart sub panel, and I'm looking at it as they're talking, and I'm like, wait a minute, my pool pumps, which are probably, it is my top energy consumer. It's an energy hog, right? To have pool pumps. If you have a pool and you don't know that, you got to know, right? So I have a pool. I'm aware of it. It's not a mystery to me. But here's what happened. It's this one mistake I made. You're gonna make fun of me. You already have made fun of me because I know this because this is this happened in the past. But I had a lack of communication between my app in my phone and the actual clock that's on the panel within my pool equipment. And what happened is I set 8 o'clock as my start to when my pool pumps turn on. But in reality, there's a 3-hour difference. So it's coming on at 5. So what that means is I think that my pool pumps were coming on at 8 when the sun comes up. They're coming on at 5 when they weren't.
So they're not being offset by solar.
To make it even, yes, and to make it even worse, right? Most variable speed pool pumps, which is new pool pumps, they have you start with a very high speed, meaning you're using a ton of power, and then they scale down. So between 5 and 8 was when all of my power was being consumed. I was using the most amount of power when the sun wasn't up by an air.
Yeah. So this realization that we were having live in this training was like, holy shit, we're discovering right now the value of this individual circuit monitoring panel where we can see this, we can track this and go, this is a direct correlation to solar customers and how using your energy is important
right
at the right time for your solar system.
So now, to be fair,
it's critical.
To be fair, I'm in a old grandfathered system with a utility company.
But if you weren't,
so this wasn't causing me financial hardship. However, we did the math, right? If somebody, because the point of this question was, I've got solar and still have an electric bill. I've got it installed recently, still have an electric bill. If somebody in the last 18 months was doing the same behavior as me, we did the math. It would have been a $700 a year extra bill for screwing this up. So the point being here is, if you have solar in the new world, it still works, but you got to use your brain.
Yeah.
You got to know when you're using power. You can't make a dumb mistake like I did. I
Double
screwed
check,
this up.
triple check. You've got to try to use the power at the right times.
Right.
You've got to utilize that asset.
Right. This was me. As a homeowner, as a consumer, I screwed this up.
So do you think that the typical consumer would be like, solar's a scam?
Yes.
It's not working.
Yes, I could have been that person. I could have been the person calling, our company and saying, hey, you guys told me I'd only have a $50 bill, making that number up.
But what you need is a company that's going to back it up and say, let's evaluate this. So
when I call and I'm like, hey, I have a $7 bill, that company that company that knows what they're doing would be like, hey, sir, like, let's look at your monitoring. Let's make sure you're consuming power the right way.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to the second question, right? This is not easy anymore. You can make mistakes as a homeowner and you need to own up to it. You can't just be a party in this that has no responsibility.
Well, there's a lot more to it than just get a system, set it, and forget it. It's not the, what was that? That old QVC thing, the set it and forget. Never mind.
My mom shopped on QVC.
Everyone's mom shopped on QVC. Question number 3.
I have a friend that has gotten solar, and when there is an issue, their solar installer is unresponsive. Is this just what I should expect in solar? No, of course not. In what industry, in what product are you buying where you should expect that you should get no service? This is a ridiculous insinuation, but I get it because our industry has deserved it. Because you know what? I'm not going to say names here, but if you could rattle off 4 company names in solar that you recognize, right? One of them is probably SunPower, went out of business. There's probably 3 more you can get.
Could do more. Yeah. It's unfortunate, right? Because this plays right into the title of this episode, Solar's a Scam, right? People get solar and then can't get a hold of the person that holds their warranty. That sucks. And we don't deserve this, right? We don't deserve this type of reputation. So it goes back to the consumer a little bit here and is do your research. Make sure that the people that you're going to install with are going to be around to service your system.
So look, my point that I was trying to make before you just railroaded me, Johnson, what was these top 4 companies, people turn to these companies as a place of like safe haven.
We trust you.
Well, we trust you because you're traded on the publicly, the stock market. Great. You're on the NASDAQ. Who cares? You know what? You have a phone tree. or worse, you
Press
answer your
one
phone
to speak to customer service. Click.
Right. Or worse, you pick up the phone and then you give people the runaround. People don't want that. They want to know what's wrong with their system.
Yeah.
They want a solution. So let me just give you some advice here, people that are picking solar systems, right? You think the big companies are safe? Generally speaking, at least from what we hear from people that call us for service, the biggest companies in this industry are the worst at service. So understand what you're paying for.
We do a lot of removal and reinstallation. So take a system down, roofer comes in, re-roofs a house, we put the solar system back up for large companies that are in business, but they won't help the people that they installed the system for. They won't help them with this transition. It's a strange dynamic. I don't get it.
So look, I mean, chances are you probably went with one of these big companies. And if you did, you're probably getting subpar service, and we're sorry for that. But the answer is there are companies like ours that care. And just because you have made the initial decision to go with a larger company or any company that has bad service doesn't mean that you have to settle for that. Figure out your local contractor. There's one, call them. I guarantee you they care, and they're going to help you get back online. They're going to show you what you're looking for.
Yep.
Right?
Local guy.
Fair enough. Last question. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm being told I need batteries. Oh, this is a total dork question. You're going to love this one. I'm being told I need batteries for my solar to work. I have a lot of friends that have solar, and this isn't the case. Am I just being upsold?
Yeah, so you need batteries for your solar system to work? Not really, but batteries for your solar system to have a good return on investment? Yeah. Solar has changed over the years. The way the utility compensates for the energy that your solar system makes has been diminished. So we need to, this is your tagline here, but like, instead of the utility being our battery, we need to be our own battery. So we need to have batteries to store.
You're doing my pitch for me.
Yeah,
you're the dork. You're supposed to do the educated version, the smart person version.
What is the smart person version?
No, the smart. Okay, so here's the point. The reason why people are confused about batteries is it's confusing. It's really confusing. And to what you are emphasizing that I say sometimes, and I'm glad that you're saying it. That makes me really happy because I felt like when I came up with this, you're like, oh, this is oversimplified, and it makes you cringe a little bit.
Sometimes it has to be simple. But because batteries are so complicated, it has to be simplified. Go ahead.
So here's the simple version. Super simple, right? If you are getting solar right now in California, here's the deal. In the past, call it early 2023 or prior, if you got solar, the utility company acted as your battery.
Right.
And what I mean by that is it didn't matter when you used power. If you weren't home or you didn't use it all, you send it back to the utility company. They hold it for you, and then they send it back when you need it for an equal exchange rate. You didn't have to worry about it. That's not the case anymore. So in the last 18 months, and this will be ongoing because the rules have changed, if you want to have solar, and by that I mean if you want to try to save on your electric bill because the utility company is burning you, they don't want to be your battery anymore. Or if they do, they're not going to do it for free. They're not going to give you an equal exchange rate. So
they're going to
here's
charge big time.
Here's the thing. They don't want to be your battery anymore. You be your own battery. So what we do is we install physical batteries at your site. And what that means is when you have extra power that you're not using, instead of sending it to the grid, you send it to the batteries in your garage or on your exterior wall. And when you need it later in the day when the sun's down, you use it. So explain to me how this isn't a good thing. This doesn't make solar a scam. This isn't an upsell. You are working towards grid independence. You are basically telling the utility company to go themselves, and you are making your own power. How is that not a good thing?
And using your own power. It is a good thing. It's 100% a good thing. Let's be less reliant on a monopoly.
Absolutely.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like,
who wants to support a monopoly?
This is what solar always should have been, right? So like anybody that got solar without batteries, good job, because
you got
that
in
was
the right
that was an excellent way to go about it. But having solar and batteries is giving us resilience against the
We're
utility.
trending towards you not needing the utility company. There will be a day in the not so distant future where you are consuming only what you produce.
Right.
And that's what we're going towards, not needing the utility company for some exchange rate that they decide.
Right.
So that's coming. We're not there yet. This is the bridge to get there. So don't think, to the point of this question, that this is an upsell. Batteries are an upsell. They are helping you. It's a tool. You are not being reliant on a monopoly that doesn't have your best interest in mind. It just goes up every year, 5%, or actually more recently, like 10% a year. They don't have your best interest in mind.
Let's make, store, and use our own energy and leave the utility out of it.
All right. So what's the main point? What's the main takeaway from this episode? Solar's a scam, right? That's the name of the episode. Look, we deserve it. But what's the main takeaway here?
I don't know if saying what's the main takeaway? Solar's a scam. I don't know if that was the right way to go about it, but
we have to own some of it. Look, our behaviors are not excusable in this. Just because we are a solution to the utility company, our behaviors and the greed that has existed in this industry is inexcusable. But what's your takeaway for people watching this?
My takeaway is solar is not a scam. Solar can be a little sleazy in the sales aspect, but the strategy, the reason why you're getting solar, to minimize an electric bill, to have independence from the utility, is all a very positive thing. It's a positive investment. Look at it in terms of investment. It is a positive investment. So solar works. Solar is a good thing. It depends on how you buy it and who you buy it from. Fair
to say that the most important decision that you make as a homeowner, and you are responsible for this, right? It's the old adage, you get what you pay for. If you pick the cheap guy, if you just bill swap and try to get a slightly lower payment utility, you didn't do your research. Pick the company that's going to be in business. Pick the company that you're not going to have to, ask this question on this list. Is this, bullshit? Pick the right company. Pick the company that's investing in you for long-term service, not a sales arm that's reaching out to you in a way that pisses you off. So I think you nailed it. That's the takeaway, right? And I wish that this industry had a better reputation. I think it will resolve itself. But we earned this. I'm saying we
didn't earn this, but the solar industry
has earned this reputation more than any other industry.
Absolutely.
So, look, there's some stuff we touched on here that I want to do an expanded episode on. So batteries are a really complicated topic, and I didn't even get into battery backup. I think battery backup is another thing that has entered the arena of solar, where people, they get what battery backup is, right? When the power goes down, grid goes down, I have power. What they don't understand is how much and what are the limiting factors and what are the considerations when I'm picking what power I want, like what circuits are actually powered when the grid goes down.
Are you ready?
The dork box
for geek mode.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
All right.
So let's do it. You're the dork.
Next episode.
Thank you for joining us, guys, for another episode of SpeakEasy with Eric and Cory. We'll see you next time.